All right. Welcome, remote learners, and anybody that watches this later. So the first thing we're going to do here is go through the syllabus, and the syllabus is online. I figure I probably shouldn't hand stuff out, so I'm going to put it up on the screen. We'll just kind of walk through it together. If you'd like a copy, I'd be happy to give you one. I do have them printed out. So. Now this is going to be interesting. So if I minimize this, then I can, oh, I can't make it totally disappear, can I? Alrighty, well, we'll go there. This isn't astronomy. At least I don't think it is. This is Comparative Origins, right? Well, this just started off wonderfully, didn't it? As the syllabus loads up, one of the things we'll do every so often is do a little devotion at the beginning. This one is pretty applicable to today. There's 365 of them in here, one for every day of the year. So occasionally we'll just do one if I think it's good. Today's a good one. It's called No Panic. This world stinks sometimes. There's confusion and there's sadness in this world. There's hunger in this world. There are cancer and divorce and death in this world. And sometimes you're going to pray about things and the prayer isn't going to be answered the way that you want. But Jesus predicted the bad stuff. He said, in this world you will have trouble. It's as if he were telling us, don't freak out when things get extreme. If he can predict the problem, he can solve it. Somewhere between the naive optimists and the doom and gloomers are the sober, honest disciples of Christ who don't panic or lose faith at the presence of problems. They know all these problems are a natural unfolding of events, part of the plan God laid out long ago. Our mission is to trust and endure. We're headed for the embrace of heaven, where nothing bad will ever happen. All right, so a little bit about comparative origins here. I am Mr. Hathaway. That's my name. I'm proud of you for taking this class. I don't know if it's the most important one you'll ever take, but it's the most important one I teach. And I'll get into that in a little bit after we're done plowing through this thing. Generally in science, we talk about how things work. In this class, we're going to do that too, but we're also going to answer one of the biggest questions out there: where did everything come from? So this class is all about exploration. We start by looking at basically what's called naturalism, the idea that everything you see came about by natural processes without a God, without a creator. And that naturalism begins with the Big Bang. And the reason that starts with the Big Bang is, chronologically, that's where naturalism, that idea, would begin. The Big Bang is the start of everything in that philosophy. And so we look at the Big Bang, and whether or not the science actually backs it up, we look at the origin of life, because that would be the next step. Because if we all got here without a God, then not only do you need to have the Big Bang occur so that everything gets here, you got to have life somehow coming about on its own. So that's the next step that we look at. And it kind of goes from there. We go through all those different sections, and they all build on each other. So it's pretty fun. As far as the textbook goes, the textbook is not your standard type of textbook. It's a small kind of novel-looking thing. So I'm going to go back and get those right now. They're in the back of the classroom there. I want to make sure that you don't get too close to each other. So I'll just pass those out myself. When you get your book, you have a writing utensil with you, just put your name in the front inside cover on the top left. So right when you open the book, just put your name on the top left corner. So right up here. And remote learners, whenever you get your book, however that comes to be, just put your name right in this spot right here, and we'll be good to go.
Are these things brand new?
Some of them are.
There's no name.
Yeah. A lot of these are brand new. There were more than we needed last semester when this course was taken, so it might be the first time yours has ever been used. Okay. In terms of the difficulty of this course, you're expected to just keep up with the notes, study them regularly. They are your kind of textbook for the class. This book is something that we look at once every couple days in the class, 1 or 2 days per unit, and it's not the sort of thing you have to bring with you every single day. I will let you know if you need to bring this to class with you. It's maybe once every 2 weeks or so. Make sure that you don't cheat. Standard grading scale there. All right. When the bell rings, you're expected to be sitting down, ready to go. A Bible verse or a Bible devotion might be read and discussed at the start of class like we did today. Typically, there are 3 types of days in this course. 3 of those days, I'll be talking. 3 of those days, some PhD person will be talking via video. And 3 of those days, you'll be kind of demonstrating what you know and what you've learned about this. So pretty much 9 days make up an entire unit for this section. And, again, it's easy for me to just sprout this off, but as we go along, you'll get in the habit of seeing what this is all about. So don't worry too much about what these days are going to look like. We'll go through them individually as they come along. Homework is going to be questions, comments, and notes on lectures, videos, and the textbook. Homework is worth 10 points apiece. Again, that's the sort of thing that we'll go over as the days roll on here. Participation, make sure that you participate during an activity day. Sometimes we have activities, more or less. With this year, we might not get together in groups as much, but those will be part of our class. Also, every week or so, we'll have a student-centered activity day. Generally, this is something where you get an article from one of the magazines over there. They're a creation magazine. They've been around since the 1970s. And it's probably the leading magazine out there that kind of forwards science and biblical science, looking at the world through a biblical lens. And they have a lot of really good science articles in there, as you'll see. Tests are 3 short essay questions out of a possible 5 that will be handed out in advance. In other words, if you go on Schoology right now, I believe in this class, you will see a section titled Tests. And the questions that you'll get on the test are there already. You can see every test from each section that you're going to have in this class. So you can feel free to look at those. And as we go through the notes, you'll kind of see how to answer those questions. This is not a course that is supposed to take up a huge portion of your student life or time. It's an elective, and I try to treat it that way. And it's not the sort of thing where I'm teaching towards the test, but as we go through the notes, you'll see how to answer those questions. If you just look at them right now, they seem pretty tough. But as we go through this stuff, you'll get a really good idea of how to answer them, and you'll do just fine. I guarantee if you put some time into this class, you're going to do great. I promise. Extra credit, if you want some extra credit, you can write on anything Origins related, evolution, Big Bang, that sort of thing. Every half page you write is worth 1 point of extra credit each. But again, if you just put some effort into the course, you're not going to need extra credit. You'll do just fine. Okay. A few more things. Respect and responsibility are assumed in this class. Don't forget that. If you do, I have some posters right here, so feel free to read those. A couple of these things are going to be different because we're in the midst of a pandemic. I usually would have a hall pass over there that you could take once a week to leave and go to the bathroom. Because we're not supposed to have you guys exchanging things, I am just going to have to write those passes out individually for you. I would just say try and limit yourself to one a week because it takes a while to fill one of these things out. So if you have to go, just come on up and let me know, and I'll write one out for you. You guys are juniors and seniors. I'm not going to question whether or not you need to go to the bathroom. You're old enough to I know I can trust you guys. You're juniors and seniors. So, but yeah, that's what that's all about. Try to limit that to one a week. If you miss a class, make sure you get the notes and homework that you missed. All the lectures, of course, will be online, so you can go through those at your own pace. And the PowerPoints are online, too. If you look at the PowerPoints, though, it's a lot of material. It's a huge amount of words and letters and sentences. You're not supposed to write all that down. As we go through those in class, I tell you exactly what from that you need to write down, what's most important. So don't just sit in class and not take notes, because number one, I'll be having you hand your notes in. It's sad, but I've had to prevent people from just having their friends write their notes and then just learn from their friends' notes while they daydream. So I am going to be collecting notes when we do finish writing them, and I'll just give you, perfect score if you did them. So that's an easy way to get a good grade. But yeah, those notes are going to be taken from the PowerPoints that are on Schoology. Again, don't just copy all that stuff down. I point out what's most important. Late work isn't cool. Make sure that you get it in on time. Otherwise, it's 40% off. There's not a lot of homework in this class. So you'll be okay. It's not like you're getting a piece of homework every single day. Most of your homework is turning in the notes that you take in class. So you'll be good to go. No worries. If you turn it in late because you were absent, and this is one of the most important things about this class, you have to make sure that when you do turn it in, that you write that you were absent on the top so I can see it. Otherwise, I've got hundreds of students. I'm not going to remember that you were late that day, or that you were gone that day, and I'll put it in as late. So make sure that if you turn something in late because you were gone, you tell me so on the top of that. Just write absent on the top of that sheet, and you won't be marked late. And of course, this is a wonderful Bible verse here from 1 Peter. In your heart set apart Christ as Lord. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have. But do this with gentleness and respect. And that's what this class is all about. There are tons and tons of questions out there about the Bible and whether or not you can actually trust it. Whether or not the science that we see in the world actually backs it up or if it goes against it. And, I'll just kind of spoil it right now. It totally backs it up. There's nowhere that you look where real science does not support Scripture or complement the Bible. And I really am looking forward to pointing that out to you guys as the semester goes along, because it's a super important thing. And I'll just tell you real quick why it's important and why I get so excited about this topic. So, this should be interesting. We'll see how PowerPoint works with this here. So, it's no secret that church attendance has gone down over the last 40 years. And so I did some research as to why that was occurring. So, there were a lot of different studies that were done. This particular one, done in 2013, looked at students who used to attend church, now they're atheists. They were asked what happened. And basically they said that ages 14 to 17 were where they made that decision. A lot of times people think that students go off to college and they're influenced by their professors and then they leave the church. It turns out this happens in students' hearts and minds when they're much younger. Another one, kids were asked why they no longer have a church affiliation after they once did. 50% said it was a lack of belief due to science, lack of evidence, and lack of common sense. I mean, that's a huge number. The next number was they just opposed organized religion in general. So this is a huge, huge deal. And I'll just show you one more slide here about this. Some barriers to being a Christian that 13 to 18-year-olds gave. 40% almost said science refutes the Bible and that it's just a bunch of fairy tales. This is a huge deal, because if you believe that the Bible is just a bunch of fairy tales, there's no reason to believe that Jesus died for your sins and miraculously raised from the dead. But what you'll find is that the Bible is true from beginning to end. There's nothing in science that goes against that. Most negative perception about the church seems to reject what science says. You get the idea. This is a huge, huge issue. All right, what else do I want to show you? I was going to show you some things on Schoology, but without the internet we can't do that. When you come into class, there is hand sanitizer there if you wish to do that. If you wish to wipe off your desks before you sit down, whatever they use, disinfectant and wipes are right here. I'm not going to make that a requirement because they are wiped down before you get here, and I don't have a advisory. So you guys are the first group that's in this class. But if that's something that makes you feel more comfortable, feel free. What else? All right. You guys have been sitting down for too long. Let's go to the back of class. I want to show you something. And then we'll get back to this kind of stuff. All right. Yeah, do your best to kind of spread out around each other and stay out of each other's mouth paper. So, I like cards. So I got a little card trick I want to show you. Anybody see me do this before? A couple people? Okay. I need a volunteer to pick up one of these cards. Anyone? Yep. Alright. Take a look at it, show it to everybody else. Don't show it to me. I'm not going to look at it. Alright. Now I'm going to do a little shuffle here. And I need anybody to just say stop, and then I'll stop shuffling. Alright. Now we need some magic words. Anybody have some magic words we can use? Good as anything I've heard. Okay, bananas. And hopefully that card will appear and show itself to me. Everybody remembers that card, right? Did he show everybody? No, he didn't. Well, that's too bad. I'm going to take a little peek at the card here. Was it the Four of Hearts? Oh, good. Okay. So we're going to take that card. And Miranda, you have an important job here, okay? I'm going to take this card. And I'm going to put this entire stack of physics textbooks on top. Do not let me get to that card. Alright. Now. I'm going to shuffle these cards again. And I just need you to let me know when to stop shuffling. Okay? Alright. Remember this card. Do not tell me what it is. The card is in your memory. Okay. Now, I need some more magic words. One more time. What do we got? Should we take bananas again? Chicken sandwich? Okay. Chicken sandwich. And hopefully that card will now appear and reveal itself as nothing but and hopefully that card will reveal itself as another blue card. There's a lot of cards. It's probably just under one of these. But I was of the understanding that these cannot just disappear. And you can see these are not like great cards. Well, that's interesting. I suppose there is that one. Miranda, you want to take a look at that card for me? Oh, I'll let you stew over it for about a week, and then if you tell me that you want to know it after that, I'll show you. You want to see another one? Oh yeah, this one you'll probably figure out. This one's fun. This one's easier to learn than that one.
I'll not release this one.
Nice. Alright, don't tell everybody how it works. I need a volunteer. Your job will be to like point, and then I'll see if I can figure out what card you're going to pick. Sure, come on over. Alright, what's your name? Noah. Noah, I think that you're going to pick 5 of diamonds. Okay. I need you to point to 2 of these 4 star things here. These 2? Point to 1 of these 2. Okay. Point to 2 of the remaining 4 cards. Okay. Point to 1 of the remaining 2 cards. Okay, that one. I can show you how this one works right away. So all you do on this one, this is fun, is you just pick a card that you're going to have them pick already. So I knew it was going to be the 5 of diamonds. And the best thing you can do is put it in a spot where you're not going to forget where it is. So I just put it as close as I could to me.
Oh, I know this one.
Yeah, yeah. So then it's basically the illusion of choice. It wouldn't have mattered which of these he pointed to. I would get rid of the other 2. So if he pointed to these 2, I'd get rid of those 2. If he pointed to those 2, I'd get rid of those 2. And most people, when they are doing that picking, don't pick up that it doesn't matter what they point to. I'm just going to eliminate whatever I want. And so it's pretty fun. And then, yeah, obviously you just eventually get down to the last one. Okay. Thank you. Head back to your seats. Okay. Those of you watching at home, I did a card trick. Sorry you missed out on that. All right, a couple other things that I want to talk about before we adjourn for the day is just some general things with the class, and then I'll just give you a short little run-through of like who I am and what I'm all about and stuff. And then that'll be good for today. All right. So in terms of making sure that you keep up with the class and everything, you're going to want to study your notes, and you're going to want to make sure that if you did have trouble with something that you took in the notes, just look on Schoology at that particular lesson and go through it as much as you need to. But again, this is not, we're not doing word problems in this class. We're not doing math problems in this class. It's all concepts. And I don't think you'll have any trouble understanding where we're going with this. Obviously, no swearing in class. As homework and notes, notes are going to be collected as homework. That's what your homework is going to be. In addition to the notes, this is the only real piece of homework that you have. I have some questions that you'll be answering as you go through this book. I love the book. It's super fascinating. And we'll be talking about those as the days come. Quizzes and tests are handed back in this class because the test is available online, so it doesn't really matter. My other classes, I had issues in the past where I would go over parts of the test on the board after I handed it back to kind of go through stuff that was tough for students, and I had some kids taking pictures of the test, sending them to their friends. And so I don't hand tests back in any other class, just this one, because the other classes, the tests aren't online. Okay, so missing work, anything that you do not turn in is in the grade book as a 0 until I get it. So just make sure, again, to get that all turned in as soon as you can. As soon as I get it, it'll be changed from a 0 to whatever that grade is. And if you were absent, there's no penalty for that. Just make sure to remember that you're right, that you were absent on the top of that, so I don't mark it late. As far as phones go, I was going to have students put phones in those slots, but I want to make sure that you're not clumped together when you come in and exit the classroom, so you can hang on to them. Just don't have them out during the class. Another thing you want to make sure you don't do is like when we're going through the notes, don't take a picture of the entire PowerPoint slide that's up here. That's not going to help you at all because, number one, it's on Schoology, and number two, there's so much information there, you need to know what's important about each slide, not all the information. So don't take pictures. It's not going to help you at all. Hall pass, we already talked about that. As far as the tests go, if you do not finish in the class time, you can stay as long as you want, but you can't, after seeing the test, come back and take it at a later time. But I'm happy to write you a pass and for you to stay as long as you need whenever we're doing those tests. When we hand things in, generally I have you hand them in all the way to the right and then forward. I don't know if maybe I should just collect things individually so you don't touch everybody's stuff. I'll think about that. While I'm talking and lecturing and stuff, there's no sleeping, please. No talking, no working on other homework, things of that nature. Also, one of the reasons you have to make sure that you're not talking amongst yourselves as we go through this is because this picks everything up. It's got a super strong microphone on it, so you want to make sure that you're not disturbing the remote learners who are going to be watching this at home. Extra credit, I mentioned that already. If you want to boost that grade, anything that you write on the stuff that we talk about is worth 1 extra credit point for every half page that you do. The other thing, so here's the thing. You guys are mostly seniors. And obviously, I've had some of you in class, but many of you, this is the first time I've ever had you in my classroom. And so I know that over your high school career, you've developed relationships, and you're closer with some teachers and coaches than others. And many of you this is the first time you've seen me. So I just want to make sure you know that even though I don't know a lot of you, my door is always open. You're always welcome to come in before or after school if you're struggling with something in this class, or if you just want to talk about something totally unrelated to class. So I just want to make sure you know that I'm here if you just want to vent about something, or if you want to come in and just hang out for a while. You're welcome to. Pencils, if you need a pencil, they're in the back of class. I'll just show you a quick tour of the room, and you'll see where everything's located. This is going to be a mess because, all the cords and stuff. That's random stuff from my life if you ever feel like looking at that. Behind the glass here, this is all stuff for physics. And if you have taken physics from me, you know what all that's used for. We got some bottle rockets up there, which are fun. Maybe that's something we can do at the end of the school year if we're actually together. Some demotivational posters. If you ever want to get a little chunk off stuff, we can read those. Random stuff back here. Space stuff. I really like space and astronomy. And I haven't decided what we're going to do with the astronomy club this year, because I want to make sure that we're not all together for obvious obvious reasons. But if that's something you're interested in, keep an ear open for that. Or astronomy-related stuff over here. Oh, most important thing. 3-hole punch, if you need a 3-hole punch. Here's a stapler, pencil sharpener, spare pencils, Kleenex, calculators, and these are the trays where I'm going to put the paper documents that you missed if you were absent. So if I handed something out during a class period, it's going to go in the Comparative Origins slot, which is this one down here. So this is where you're going to find anything that's paper that you missed while you were gone. So just check that out. And when we pass things in and we hand the stuff in, these are the labels for all my classes this year. Second hour Comparative Origins, you guys are on the very top, and your stuff's going to go right here. So when you hand things in, hand in homework here. After I get it corrected and I'm going to hand it back, it's going to go right here, and then I get that back to you. Lunch menu there, fire extinguisher if the room's on fire, fire blanket if you're on fire. You get the idea. Okay. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about myself now, and then that will be good for the day. Tomorrow we are going to begin right off the bat with cosmology, and that's going to be stuff about space and the Big Bang. And you'll kind of see how this goes. So starting tomorrow, the next 3 days will be you guys taking notes on cosmology. So make sure you have something to write with tomorrow, along with something to write on, preferably. So a little bit about Mr. Hathaway. Many of you have seen this before. Well, a couple of you have, because you've had me in class. Some of you have not. Anyone want to guess how old I am? I heard 32, I heard 35. What's that? Old?
Older or younger?
I am older than 32. Nope. I'm going to be 37. I'm 36 right now. I was made in 1983 in September, and this is just a slideshow of some stuff. So in 1983, this is what kind of your standard band album cover looked like. It's a little bit different from how they look now. These are some popular movies from 1983. You might recognize a few of them. So I was a Hulkamaniac as a kid, Hulk Hogan. Also a huge Larry Bird fan. When I was really little, this was one of my favorite toys. His name is Teddy Ruxpin. Anybody ever seen him before? You have? Yeah. So what you do, you put a little cassette tape in his back, and he like narrates a story, and his eyes blink and stuff. So it's a little demonic, but it was pretty fun. This is the church that I grew up in, Trinity Lutheran in Neenah. It's about 100 miles north of here. And this was the grade school I attended, Trinity Lutheran School. While I was a little kid, this was one of my favorite shows, The Real Ghostbusters. Also, the Batman animated series was awesome. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and the Ninja Turtles. Never quite grew out of any of this. This is my wife and I and two of our friends at, I think it was the most recent Turtles movie, 3-4 years ago, whenever that was. Also played video games, Super Mario Brothers, Street Fighter, Sonic the Hedgehog, Resident Evil. Those were the kind of games that I grew up with. Sega Genesis, PS1, that sort of thing. Then I went to high school at Oshkosh North. I went from a tiny little class of 25 at my Lutheran grade school to a class of 425. So it was a pretty big change. This was the car I drove, and boy, isn't she a beauty. I played some basketball. We were also the Spartans, which is kind of interesting. I was in the musicals. That was fun. I worked at the movie theater to make money to pay for college. Oh, this was Batman in 2005. Batman Begins. I was Batman for that promotion. It was really, really cool. I also actually ended up marrying her 13 years later. So I was on the roof, and I would, like, wave at kids as they came in. It was really awesome. Yeah, I rock. So also in high school, my parents got the internet, just to give you context. And then I went to college at UW-Oshkosh, and I got my first cell phone. Looked exactly like this. Completed my undergraduate research to get a professional degree in physics. Wanted to be a scientist. Did that for a while here. Decided I wanted to go back and teach physics. So I was more passionate about teaching it than actually, like, doing it in a lab. So I went back to UW-Oshkosh, went back to the movie theater, and hung out there for a while longer while I completed my degree. This is my brother and I, and we like to do fun things in the summer. This is something called the Tough Mudder from a couple of years ago. It was a good time. I play softball, basketball. I like to run. Next. Play darts. And I'm married. That's my wife. And we just had a baby in October. His name is John. Those are my parents. That's the little guy. He was so excited this day that he just threw up all over me. It was wonderful. We love him. There he is. Kids and their phones, right? So yeah. I also drive a little... This looks like an awesome car. It's just a compact car. But I like to pretend it's a sports car. These are my favorite sports teams. I'm actually like a sixth cousin to Anne Hathaway. I think Sharks are awesome and misunderstood. Because if you just put like regular teeth in them, they don't look all that bad. And just to kind of close out, there are a couple things that I really do not like. One of them is anything mint flavored. I do not like the band Nickelback. I don't like the TV show The Big Bang Theory. I don't like people who are better than me. I don't like lily pads. I don't like stingrays, most fruits and vegetables, loud advertisements, the city of Los Angeles, cats, penguins, anchovies. But most of all, there's one thing I dislike above all else. Does anybody know what that is? I hate snakes. Do not bring a snake into this class. You will fail it, I guarantee. Keep the snakes at home, folks. The end. I'm excited to have you guys here for the school year. Come ready to take a few notes tomorrow. I'll see you then.